I'm here with Dr. Bob Smith, who's a veterinarian based in Oklahoma and does consulting work with feed yards and also some stockers and other operations, and is also a longtime faculty member at Oklahoma State University. And wanted to ask you a little bit about what you're seeing in particularly feed yards, but stocker receiving programs as well this year, based on some of the nutritional status of the cattle coming in and how that's affecting the health of the cattle, and maybe what you're doing with your clients to respond.
Mm-hmm. Well, sure. And of course, this problem didn't begin just this year, because the drought's now going on 2 to 3 years. And we see several things. We see more difficult health problems when these cattle are coming in. And as we think about this, let's assess what has happened to the nutritional status of the animals in these herds of origin, because the dams of these calves that are coming in certainly are not eating the normal amount of grass or even the same forage that they would typically eat. Now they're eating more forbs, and they're eating hay that comes from we don't know where, because it's been shipped all over the United States. And as a result, it's quite possible that the cows are not going to produce the same amount of colostrum or the quality of colostrum that they would normally produce. There was work in Nebraska done several years ago which showed that if a calf did not absorb adequate amounts of colostrum during the first 24 hours of life, that there was a greater risk of respiratory disease in the feedlot when these animals were yearlings. And other work which has been presented at this meeting that we're at today also shows that there is a lifetime effect on health if they don't absorb adequate amounts of colostrum. But not only the concerns about energy and protein and trace minerals because of changes in their diet, but also the water supply has changed, because in so many cases the water levels in our ponds or tanks have dropped to levels that's going to increase the concentration of our total dissolved solids. That then could end up interfering with the normal matrix of trace minerals that are so necessary for immune function and reproduction and bone development and so on. So these calves also are arriving in the auction markets and in the barns at times they would not normally arrive. Hotter weather, of course, that's behind us now. But we've seen quite a mix in some of the cattle that's come in for backgrounding or to be fed. For example, one set of cattle we thought that came from one auction actually had sale barn tags that represented 9 different sale barns in 2 different states. And so anytime we commingle cattle, we're going to have some of those same effects. So what do we do about that? Well, first of all, I think we have to address the nutritional needs first. And because of all these things that we just talked about, I think it's important that we work with the nutritionist who's providing service to our clients to develop a trace mineral package. And also that we not get in too big of a hurry on pushing these calves up on feed, because when they're starved for a long period of time, or perhaps not totally starved, but decreased amounts of dry matter intake, the liver's a little smaller, the GI tract's a little smaller. It takes some time for the animal to transition up to a point where it can handle higher levels of dry matter intake. And one of the things that we're blessed with right now would be our distillers products, because these are friendly to a calf that's at high risk of developing respiratory disease, whereas high starch diets are not friendly. The energy is important, but the source can have a quite different outcome. So these high quality fiber products, like in distillers grains, are friendly to the rumen, they're friendly to the immune system. They contain a lot of protein and the highly digestible fiber, and in most cases they still contain quite a bit of fat, which is a good energy source.